Hey, this is Jared Krause, host of the Buying Online Businesses podcast, and this is episode number 15. And again, I'm talking to a great mate of mine, Mr. Kim Barrett, who is a world-renowned marketer, author, and digital marketing master, helping businesses scale to the 6 and 7 figure mark. Now, Kim and I dive deep into how to scale and grow your e-commerce website and online business once you've bought it. We dive deep in how to do really good production for video and content to sell your products. And we also dive into Instagram and how to market your products on Instagram, and particularly the changes that are getting made to Instagram where you can buy products straight off Instagram and the Facebook platform. So if you guys are looking how to go away and make more money from a business you already own or a business that you're about to buy, make sure you listen to this episode. It's very, very powerful. So, hey everyone, and welcome to the Buying Online Businesses podcast. And here I get to speak to, again, Mr. Kim Barrett from Your Social Voice, who has just been crushing it in digital marketing. We spoke last time and just spoke about some of your accolades, Kim, in our last episode. And I think it was episode number 8, and literally just released that one, I think only a week or so ago, but it's already been doing really, really well. And I want to thank you for coming on the podcast then and again now. So thanks for coming on.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. I loved it, man. And that's why I'm back. So I'm excited to chat again.
Excellent. And I noticed that you went away and you were lucky enough. Well, I shouldn't say luck, because you've definitely earned your spot in this, but you went to one of the head offices of Facebook. How cool was that?
Oh, it was really cool. It was really fun. It was actually a funny story because I was working with a client at the first time I went. So the recordings from, I think, the second or third time I went to their offices. The first time, though, I got a call and I thought it was a scammer because it's like, oh, hey, it's such and such from Facebook's office. I'm like, oh, okay, sure it is. And I was just like, and I was in Singapore at the time on the way to Thailand. I was just there passing over. And he's like, oh, I'm calling from the Singapore office about one of the clients you're working with and wanted to know if you wanted some assistance and blah, blah. And I'm like, well, look, yeah, if you are who you say you are from Facebook's office, then sure, I'd love to. And I was like, what Facebook office are you from? He's like, Singapore. And I was like, well, I'm in Singapore at the moment, thinking that he would kind of like freak out a little bit if it was a scammer. And he's like, well, do you want to come to the office right now? I was like, okay. And I was like, is this serious? And then he's like, yeah, here's the thing. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, it is Facebook office. So I was like, all right, sweet. I'll jump in a taxi and head on straight down there. And yeah, ever since they've been growing. So they've actually just moved into a new office in Singapore because they took up so much space. So they had their own dedicated new office, which is just crazy, but it's such an exciting place to be and go. And when you go there, it just feels cool and it just looks cool. And it looks like there's always like a lot of fun stuff happening there. So it was, really exciting times. Every time I get to go, I feel very grateful that I've got the opportunity to head in there.
That's massive, man. That's seriously so cool. And we will get into the crux of this podcast, but I know there's some stuff that you really learn. And in this podcast, we're going to talk about how to market an e-commerce store once you buy it, Kim. But I want to stick to this like that interaction that you went and had in Facebook. Like, what are some of the things that you saw and like kind of learned about their business when you were there?
So one of the big things I learned about was their recruitment. So their recruitment is crazy. Like they had, so there was like 6 or 7 levels they had when I was there of a building, and they were going to one where they were going to have 12 to 13 levels, I think it was. Wow. And like a third of their employment is just for recruitment. So a third of the people they have on their team are just looking for other talented people, trying to hire, trying to poach, whatever they can to have the best team possible. So to me, I was like, damn, if these guys have that much of an emphasis on recruitment, I can only imagine, number one, what they're doing and producing, but number two, how much importance I should be putting on that. Like if these guys are doing it, or like, why am I not constantly recruiting, looking for good people to either increase my team or to replace team members that are at that kind of world-class level? And I know that they poached, I think they took one one of their, like a key hire for their small business division. They took from Culture Kings, who was doing their ads and was killing it for them. And they ended up poaching him and getting him to move to Singapore. And I know that they definitely go quite aggressively hard towards getting those good people. So to me, I think I was like, wow, it's amazing how important that is to them. And it's something for me to take on board for my business.
Yeah, I think that's something for us to all take on board as business owners, or people that are listening to the podcast are going to be soon to be business owners, is that, and I've talked about this in the past, is that you can go away and hire somebody off Fiverr and get some work done, but it's not going to be very good work, and you may have to replace the work and get it done again in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years down the track. But if you have a massive emphasis on getting the best skill and the best talent, and even like one of the biggest companies in the world, they're really leading the pack in that, aren't they? And it's something that, I can definitely take on board myself. And I think everybody else listening is like, yeah, like doesn't matter just because they're Facebook at the scale they have, their huge emphasis on getting really good talent. We can do it all the way down to hiring our first team member,
Exactly. 100%. Or like the people that you learn from. If you go and hire someone like that, you're going to get a mentor or a coach or anything like that, same thing applies.
Yeah, just finding the best, finding the best of the best. And so let's dig into, marketing. We can always grow our team, and the better our marketing is, the more we're going to have to grow our team, which is awesome. But like, say for somebody, Kim, I wanted to ask you a pretty cool question on e-commerce, right? So selling physical products, or even if it's just drop shipping, like what have you seen as some of the best ways or sort of campaigns to be running with an e-commerce store? Say, I'll give you an example. Would it be better for me to give you an example?
Well, yeah, you definitely can do.
Yeah. So say I've got like a Shopify store and I'm selling, just homeware stuff, and I want to scale that and use some different marketing tactics. What would be your go-to, your agency, what would you guys go to when you wanted to start scaling and growing an e-commerce store like that?
For sure. And look, it's actually a niche that we not shy away from, but it is very intricate, the e-commerce niche. So when you're going into it, you do need to have a really solid game plan. You really do need to have a succinct strategy that you go and execute upon, right? So One of the big things for me that I look at, and this is actually the first time I went to Facebook, funnily enough, was for one of my physical product e-commerce clients, right? It was for their account that we were there. They were spending between $5,000 and $10,000 a day.
Wow.
Now, what they said and mapped out for me was you talk about funnels when it comes to landing pages and things like that, but they really honed in the emphasis for me on a ad funnel. And what I mean by that is having a succinct strategy and a succinct process to take people down from when they very first interact with your products and the actions they take based upon that. And like essentially having a 4 to 5 point ad funnel being on like the actions people take if they interact with an ad, if they watch a video and things like that, and bringing them down all the way down to a simple retargeting ad at the bottom, and using that to really dramatically grow your ads and grow your feedback. And I did I've done like a 30-minute full-on presentation on this. So if you or your audience would like, I'm more than happy to send that across to you guys. I look a little bit younger and a little bit less, more stress-free, I should say. But if your audience would love to see that, I'll send that across to you so you can show them too, because it's pretty robust, the strategy that they do recommend, but it does work. But one of the keys and the most important things there is good quality content on the front end. And I know, like, if you just say you've got homewares, you might be like, oh, like I have homewares. It's not super sexy. It's not like a bikini. I can just get some hot chicks in them and take photos or videos, right? Yeah. It's like, how would you do that? So, and I've been on a couple podcasts this week, and this also ties into some of the new releases from Facebook from the F8 developer conference, which is they're pushing video to become more film-like. Right, not exactly like a high quality film necessarily for a product, but I would, in the homewares niche, what I would be doing is let's just say that it might be things that you can use in a kitchen, or depending on where it is, or a style of a house. Like I would make like a fun little like 1 to 2 minute like skit, if you will, or video that features all those products. and pushes them towards the website to shop those products, depending on what they are. And that would be that's like the first port of call. That's like the first pillar to hold up this campaign strategy is to use that to drive it. If I was to look at the absolute best part, like if I was in an ideal world, money was no object, I would be getting some sort of influencer to do that for me. That would then share that out to their audience, which then I would piggyback off of. In an ideal world, that's what I would do for the first part to really to stand up a pillar for like a homewares e-commerce business.
Yeah, because that gives so much social proof as well, really, doesn't it? Now, coming back to the, I think that'd be awesome to have that sort of ad funnel. And guys, I'll grab that off Kim if he's cool with that. Like he said, I'll just chuck it in the show notes there for you guys. And coming back to that, Kim, so you mean really having really good, high quality videos as content, and what you mean by film, like, does that mean that you're talking about like better grade, like quality of recording? Is that what you mean?
Ideally, yes. Like quality needs to go up, but also what I think a lot of people, and again, not that they necessarily do wrong, but we treat Facebook ads with disrespect. Okay. And what I mean by that is they are actually more beneficial, more targetable, more leverageable than a TV ad, a radio ad, a newspaper ad. However, we don't treat it with the same respect, because I'm sure that if we were going to go and place a TV ad, we would be dotting every I, crossing every T, ensuring that it was like literally picture perfect to get us the best result possible, because it's going to go on TV.
Yeah.
Facebook is the new TV. So like, why don't we treat it with the same level of respect when it comes to what we create and put on there?
That's so true. Like, we just slap up a quick Facebook Live and throw it up there, and then it's up there, and we don't treat it like, what I've noticed with Facebook is you've got an audience from your Facebook page, or you're targeting a specific audience with your ad. Like, if you throw something up on TV, like there might be like 1,000th or like 1/50th of the people are your right target market, and you may be reaching around the same amount of people if you're highly targeted and using the right ad spend. So why wouldn't you use the same video production? And I've started seeing that. I've done that myself, obviously. I've started getting better film, better audio, backgrounding, lighting, all that sort of stuff. And the guys that have the bigger money and ad budgets, they're spending a lot of that in that sort of area of productions. Would you say that's something that you've seen a lot of? Like, and what sort of, like, how much do you reckon they'd be spending, like percentage wise, in that production, do you think, compared to their ad budget?
Well, I mean, look, it's actually not that much more to get someone to do something well. You can get someone who is the good, like, let's just say, so I put out 2 content pieces, brand new pieces per week, goes onto our YouTube channel, but we also then share that content onto our Facebook page, Instagram, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, there's a guy that we have that comes in, he films, he has like good quality film, he uses lapel mics, the audio is great. Normally the visual is quite good and well lit. And look, he charges me like $25 an hour. It takes me 10 minutes to record my content piece. They're normally anywhere from like 8 to 13 minutes. Then I have my editor edit it. It might take her 45 minutes, and I pay her, let's just say, again, $25 an hour. So it might cost me $100 to put together, like, or not even 100 because it's only 10 minutes of filming, but it might cost me $75 to $80 to get it done nicely, right? And that's good looking, that will stand out, will be equally on par with a lot of the stuff that goes in there. Now, look, that's just for a content piece. It's not a big promo piece, but you can make things look good without necessarily having to spend a lot. But as soon as you go into, like, if you look at any then of my proper promo films where there's like high levels of editing, there's a lot of content that you gather to make a 30-second speaker promo reel, right? If you look at that, like, when you see if you've ever seen any of my promo reels.
Yeah, the speaker reel for sure.
Yeah, like they've spent like, that's like 3 or 4 days of event where I'm speaking out, capturing all these little moments, and then it like distills down into like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So
and then there's a high level of editing as well.
Exactly. That's a high level of editing, the transitions, the music, it's all like super on point. So that is, I think, where then the production level goes up. And like for example, our I think we spoke about last time, my Certified Ballers live event. That
Yep.
video we spent a fair bit of money on getting it produced well, but it's because I want it to have a big impression.
Yeah, that's right, and it certainly has. And if you guys haven't seen that Certified Ballers, I'm going to link to that in the show notes as well, like last time. But to come back to the cost of production, it really is quite cheap. And like I don't have the fanciest Canon Mark III 5D type camera or the best microphone or whatever it is I've got some good stuff, good quality stuff that matches the likes of the best cameras to a certain extent for what I want to do. And for somebody that's looking to market their e-commerce store, you can do what Kim's doing and get people in that have the gear already. Use their lapel mics, use their gear. That means you're not having to go away and buy all this sort of stuff when you may only need to shoot, a week's worth of content. You get all your, say it is homewares or say it's just jewelry or whatever it is, you could just get a day or a week ready of content. You don't have to go out and buy a camera and all that sort of stuff just to do that work, that you can get it edited then and put it up on your site and use that as promotion. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, 100%. And like you'll find people that are at university studying, and a lot of times they have to do it for their projects and stuff as well. And their uni will give them the equipment, or they already have it and they've loved photography and they have bought the latest and greatest, or like they've gone out and there's a camera, a video camera, which is called a Red. And it's like film quality style, and it costs like 25 or 30 grand to get this like video camera, right? It's crazy. It's the same that you would like, it's that a lot of the time they'll use for certain movie aspects. But I know a guy that had one and filmed me when I did a thing in Bali, he charged me $600.
That's awesome.
And so I get the $600, the quality video, but I'm not, and he's had to pay like $30,000 because he is a tech geek and he loves and wanted to have that. And then he uses it for his business, but I'm not paying the 30 grand to have that type of equipment. I'm just getting the benefit of it at the end of the day.
What a great investment for you. And for everybody else listening as well, a little story of people that I know that have created content is they've linked up with people from university or studying videography and all this sort of stuff, because it's absolutely massive industry in our world now. Like, creating great content and videography and cameras and all that sort of stuff. But there are these uni students out there that need to get like projects done for their assignments, or they need to get a certain level of practical skills up and build up a portfolio. And you can get this done for sometimes free, next to nothing. Now, I dare say it's worth giving them, a bit of help and a bit of cash behind it. Don't be the person that's going out there and hiring, or not hiring, but just getting free people after free people after free people and sort of jibbing it. It's, worth giving back as well, but you can do that. You can get people to do that sort of stuff really cheap. So that's awesome, Kim. And when you've done a whole lot of content, like say you've gotten all this content created, say I'm selling jewelry now as on my e-commerce store, because it's a bit sexier, isn't it? Then homewares, say we're selling jewelry and I've gotten a fair bit of content for my actual site and for my ads, what would I be doing with that content? Like, how would you go about putting that in front of people?
So there's two, like there's ad-based content and then there's content. So content I would drop onto your Facebook page, and then yes, definitely I'd be promoting it out to my ideal audience. So what I like to do with the video content is like with the soft call to action. So if you have a great piece of video content based around your jewelry, people are watching it and engaging with it. And then at the end, it's like, cool, to find out more, click here, and you go just to your main homepage, because you're not at that level, at the first initial point, you're not looking like, yes, you want to get sales, but you're not looking for sales. You're looking for awareness, engagement, and clicks, and people to know about you. Because then when you hit them with the next level of ads, then it's like, oh, wow, only people that have either watched your video or hit your web page see the next level of ads. And that's where then magic starts to happen, because then it's like, oh, wow, I've seen this piece of jewelry before. I've seen that necklace, those earrings, that ring. Wow, let me find out a little bit more. Like there's a guy who does it really well. he does men's rings, but he uses all like different types of, like I'll say like all different types like elements and things like that within the rings. And it's like, I think it's David Parham is his name. David Parham Designs, and he has these rings. They look just tremendously well. But one of the best videos was like a making of video, and I watched it and it was like pouring it into this like forger thing. And then it was like, it was really interesting just to watch. And then ever since then, I've been seeing these ads for these rings. I'm like, oh, if I wanted to buy a ring, like I don't really wear, like I want to get an Aura ring, but that's just because it tracks sleep and whatnot. But I'm not really a ring type wearing guy. Like I wear a watch, but not a ring. And like I've been very near several times to the point where and they're like, I think they're like $1,000 or $2,000 or something, his pieces. But I was like, I've been very near to buying it because I saw it, and then it's like, they just keep popping up and I'm like, oh, should I? Oh, nearly. But like, you know, I'm just, if I was a ring guy, I definitely would have bought them from him.
Yeah, and that's something to definitely take into consideration is the process on how certain products are made. Like if you look at some beer ads, like where the water has melted all the way down from the mountain and come through the stream and use that same water, then they've gotten the hops or whatever it is from the farm, and they've brought this all together, and that whole sort of process, and teaching people how this sort of stuff's done, especially like a ring or, you know, any sort of product. If it's it's an eco-friendly product, people are going to be digging that hard. Like that's a really good content piece, isn't it, Kim? Like teaching people as well as not just going, oh, here it is, buy it.
Yeah, because as well, like it's more shareable. Like I probably won't share the ad that I see now to buy the ring, right? But that first one of making the ring, I'm like, oh, this is cool. I tag my brother, my cousin, and my dad. Like I'm like, this is pretty interesting to watch. Those things are always shareable. So if you think about anytime you see content and you got to notice like what you share, it's like I always know there's like, for example, some of the best ones I've seen are like places like Sri Lanka and whatnot, and like travel destinations where there's like a picture of a train and it's like, oh, there's a special train that goes around the edges of Sri Lanka. You can sit, you know, hang your legs off the edge and you go off and you're like on the edge of a cliff and it's really cool and all that sort of stuff. Like that is a perfect content piece to promote like tourism in Sri Lanka because I'm going to share that, right? And then, you know, and then people will go, they'll book and they'll go to Sri Lanka. Similar thing is like if it's shareable where it's not like, hey, buy this from me, then it's like, oh, I'm going to tag people, I'm going to share it around, especially when it's in like the making of, because people like to see that stuff. But as well, sometimes a little bit, it's like, I don't really want to share I don't go home and be like, oh, did you see the ad from Hungry Jack's today? How good was it? But it's like, oh, did you see that that gourmet burger thing that Jamie Oliver made yesterday? So it might be available from a burger joint, but it's like when you see that making of and he does it specially and it's like the gooey cheese and stuff on top, you're like, oh, that's just cool. It's like it's entertaining and engaging. That's what you need to be thinking about when you're creating that content.
Yeah, and that really, really builds the desire for that burger as well, that taste and everything like that. So to bring it back, if you create that really good content and it's not so much, it can be used as an ad, but you put money behind it mainly to get more of an audience and build that audience. And then what happens is those people who click on, or you got that soft call to action. So people may watch the video and then you could retarget them to how many people watch maybe a certain percentage of that video. Or if they do a soft call to action where they click on the website or whatever the link is and go through it, then you can have them pixeled and then come back with a retargeted ad, which would be more of an ad, proper ad, like, oh, here, do you want to buy the ring? Maybe after they've seen 2 or 3 of those pieces of content with a more of a harder call to action. Is that the approach that you'd probably take, Kim?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, it's very hard to get someone who's at the decision, or like who's ready to make a decision right now. Like we got a client who does diamonds, right? Pink diamonds. And it's the same thing. It's like, you've got to get someone when they're ready to do it. So instead of like being a direct call to action, another thing that works really well is like a quiz. So for him, we've got like, what sort of like, are you like, find out what type of diamond buyer you are. And then, or like, what sort of diamond is right for you? They take the quiz and it's like, cool, is this for investment purposes? Is it for engagement purposes? And then like choosing all these things and making all these selections. But the whole time we're just indoctrinating them and educating them on the products that we have. And then at the end, it's like, oh, great, you're about to get engaged. How about we give you a bonus 20% off coupon for when you buy your diamond engagement ring or whatever it might be.
Yeah, and for the ring, that is specifically the ones that's right for you as well, you know? So it's really highly targeted traffic, giving them exactly what they want. That's a really cool thing. So talk to me. So that's a really good way to do it kind of on, would you say, Facebook? Now, for Instagram, a lot of people Instagram is massive, and there's some cool things that I would love to talk to you about in the changes that's coming to Instagram, especially for e-commerce. But what would you do to market those products on Instagram?
So Instagram is kind of like almost circling back to the very start of the comment that I said, which is like that video type content, because I think you said you watched some of our stuff that we announced after the F8 of what's coming for Instagram. Like the ability to shop off photos and videos and tie that to a shop is huge, and that's what's coming. And it's like you can transact now without even fully leaving it, but clicking on. So if I'm wearing let's just say a watch, right, from a watch store, and I'm doing a video on there and I'm just going about my normal day, I can just tag that watch though in there. People can click that, it goes to your e-commerce store, and then they purchase without having to leave Instagram at all. So again, the content production, and I think the video as well of, I'll say like native or natural. It's like, I think when, you look at any, TV or movie that's American based, and the guys all drink Starbucks.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, but you're just getting entertained as content, but then you're like, oh, even though their coffee is crap, suddenly if you go to America, no one goes to the little mum and pop coffee store. They all go to Starbucks, even though their coffee is not that good.
Yeah. It's just seeding that product in those content videos. And so for those of you guys who are listening about Instagram, that's massive and game-changing. And for some of you guys who don't know how much of a game changer that is, to let you know why it's so important to keep people on the platform is because when you go and have a sales funnel to have people try and buy your product as an e-commerce store, is that the less clicks, the easier it is, and the more user-friendly the layout and the design of your funnel or your website is for them to put their card details in and purchase that product, you can make, this is called conversion rate optimization, CRO, especially for those website owners out there and to-be website owners out there, is that having this on the platform of Instagram and buying it straight from Instagram is, wouldn't you say, like, pretty much revolutionary for Instagram?
Oh yeah, for Instagram, like there's going to be so much more spending happening through Instagram. Like it's just going to be crazy. Like I can just see, because it's like, I've seen stuff before. I've seen guys wearing watches or like shirts or ties or whatever it might be. I'm like, oh, that looks cool. I might like that. Like even for example, I like following a lot of Grant Cardone stuff. Yeah. And I remember one time he was wearing this like little 10X pin, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to get one of those pins. If that was possible for me to tap on his photo, it'll be like, cool, 10X pin, $6.99. Tap here and then bang and buy. I would have definitely bought that.
Yeah.
Like, I would have definitely done that right then and there. And then I would have bought some other stuff or whatever else came up after that. But I think by allowing people to do that, it also means that you get to be more creative with your products. And it's like the whole thing, I think, ties back to something going back in the day. If you remember, the very first TV shows that came out were called soap operas.
Mm.
The reason why they were created was to sell, at the time, extra products from Palmolive, extra products from the creators of soap and soap-related products. That's why they have that name.
I never knew that. That's awesome.
So it's crazy, right? They were created purely to sell product, right? E-commerce style stuff. Like they're purely created to sell products and have those products placed in there, because that ladies during the day, they're sitting around, they're bored, get them to watch a TV show that features the products that they want to have and they want to buy, and that will increase sales.
That is very smart marketing, especially for those days. That's really cool.
Yeah, and so that, like, when I look at that, I'm like, that is now, like, that's circling back. This is TV, and like Facebook and Instagram are TV in the olden days.
Yeah, exactly. So when you have things that are, when you've got, say I'm recording a video and it's a particular type of, I'm jewelry, then I'm in my jewelry shop. with my logo on the wall or whatever it is, and that's just seeding that product so much more, just like they're doing in those soap operas, right?
Exactly. So like if you were to look at it, imagine having, for example, one of the, let's just say again, jewelry store, having some of the people from, I don't know, Bachelor in Paradise or something like that, doing a little skit on there and then talking about it, and then about how they're going to get married. Oh, what sort of ring should I choose? Oh, you should choose, why don't you get a pink diamond ring from Jared's Diamond Store? Oh yeah, let's go have like something like that. That's kind of like the product placement style things that you'd be looking at.
Yeah. And for the seeding of the product is really important. On top of that is the influencers you use. So some people may be, and this is what I've noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong, King, but some people may be looking at using some influencers that may have, like, I don't know, 100,000 followers, but really low engagement. And then they've got an opportunity to pay a little bit more money or a fair bit more money to somebody who has more followers and more engagement. It's so much more valuable to do so because they have a bigger brand and they have far more trust and they're in front of a far bigger audience. So it only makes sense that the more recommendations from the higher profile people as social proof, the more valuable your product can become. And I see this, it's called the Mad Hueys. I'm not sure if you know what the Mad Hueys is, Kim, but on the Gold Coast, there's a bunch of guys, or brothers that are the Hueys, right? And they love fishing and they're wild and they're crazy and they love surfing. And they just recorded videos of them just doing absolutely ridiculous stuff. But they started creating t-shirts and products and giving them to some celebrities and some people that they knew that were high profile, and they ended up just killing it, right? These guys, I don't think they have much, like, they're pretty talented in some surfing, but they're wild, they're crazy, but they've used the power of influence marketing. And have you heard of those guys before?
Yeah, no, when you started saying their names, I was like, oh yeah, I have heard of them before.
And that's just something that's really important, is to not just seed your product in different videos of your own, but to have that seeded in other people's videos that are a higher profile. And do you see that that's something, like, how important would you see that for an e-commerce store marketing on Instagram and Facebook these days, Kim?
Oh, I think it's hugely valuable. Like, can you still be successful without it? Yes. However, it just makes such a difference, and it will rapidly accelerate you even further, because what you can then do is, some people would do the influencer marketing and they'll kind of stop, and that would be it. And if that makes sales, great. If not, they got awareness. What I would do is, anything that they post about you, I would screen capture everything that anyone posts for you, about you, etc. And then I would use them as ads. So I would be running ads of the influencers post with all their social proof and engagement on it, showing how amazing it is and how well it works. Well, as long as that's part of your, as long as you can go, yeah, cool, we can use your post in our promotional materials, because then you piggyback off their social proof, and they may only have that post up for a week and take it down, but then you've got the screenshot of it forever, that if you're good with your targeting, you can probably dial in and target pretty close to their audience anyway, and then you can continually piggyback off that social proof for a while to come.
That's so cool. And that's a really important thing that you just mentioned, Kim, is that as a business owner, when you do come to an agreement with an influencer, part of your agreement should be you should be able to use that content wherever and whenever you like, as it's your own, and have the total rights to it. So capturing that and storing it and then putting it, in the cloud or on a hard drive or whatever to use again and again and again is so valuable. Like, say Paris Hilton shares one photo of one ring that I'm trying to sell, like, how am I not going to just put like 10 grand a day behind that if I want to sell lots of rings?
Exactly. That's just like a license to print money.
Yeah. And so Facebook and Instagram are massive for digital products, especially e-commerce products, not just digital products, but let's say AdWords. Like, do you see many people having a great return or great results from AdWords?
Look, I'm not an AdWords AdWords guy, so I'm probably hard pressed to answer that one properly. However, I know that a lot of people don't use Google Shopping very well, and I know that that is a huge opportunity for people with their e-commerce products as opposed to normal Google ads. I would say that Google Shopping and YouTube targeted advertising would be the two ones that I know would work very, very well, especially if you're doing good content. There's no reason why you can't have a good content ad become a YouTube video ad, and then making sure that that product, if someone searches it, comes up in Google Shopping as well.
Yeah, and having that video saved as a YouTube channel, you're not just building an audience then on Facebook and Instagram, but you've got an audience again that you can target to on YouTube, which is really cool too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Kim, so much value from this episode, talking deep in Instagram and influencers and all that sort of stuff. And where can people find more about you?
Yeah, definitely. Yoursocialvoice.com.au. You can see all about me and what we do. And then if you do want to connect and see me personally, then at Real Kim Barrett on Instagram, I always share fun behind the scenes stuff. Or sometimes it's just pictures of me drinking coffee, whatever's going on that week. I also connect there and always happy to answer questions too.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that, Kim. Really appreciate that you jumped on board again. So much value for everybody out there listening to this. And Kim is more than happy, like he said, is loves interacting with everybody on the socials and helping people too. So really hit base with him if you wanting to learn how to grow your business more. So thanks again so much, Kim, for that. For everyone listening, thanks for listening as well. Please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you did like this episode of the podcast, please go away and leave a cheeky review telling me what you actually liked about it. Thanks, guys. Speak to you next time.